Chapter 6, Lesson 5, Day 1 and 2, more two-step equations. I'm going to go to page 485 in our math journal to talk about these four problems. So we're going to solve each problem and check our solutions. So the first one, I have to use my distributive property, where I take the number on the outside, 8, and I multiply that by each of the numbers on the inside. So 8 times s is 8s, plus 8 times 3, which is 24, equals 72. So to get my variable by itself, I have to subtract 24 from both sides. Subtract, I get 48 equals 8s. So then to get my variable by itself, I divide each by 8. And 8s divided by 8 is s. And 48 divided by 8 is 6. Now if I put that inside my equation, if s is 6, 6 plus 3 is 9, 9 times 8 is 72, I know my answer is correct. Number 2 says negative 7 times the quantity of z minus 6 equals negative 70. So again, distributive property, I multiply the outside number by each of the inside. I get a negative 7z. Negative 7 times a negative 6 is a positive 42 equals negative 70. So to get my variable by itself, I subtract 42 from both sides. Negative 70 minus negative 42 is a negative 112. Those cancel out. And that equals negative 7z. So then I divide each of those by negative 7. And I get 112 divided by a negative 7 is 16. And 16 minus 6 is 10. 10 times negative 7 is negative 70. The last one, number 3. I take the same thing, negative 2 times 8, negative 2 times t. So I have a negative 2t minus 16 equals 12. So I add 16 to both sides. Remember, I'm doing the opposite, which is 28 equals negative 2t. I divide each by 2. Sorry, negative 2. So t would equal 28 divided by negative 2, which is negative 14. So then to look at the last one, and it says the length of each side of a equilateral triangle is increased by 5 inches. So the perimeter is now 60 inches. Write and solve an equation to find the original length of each side of an equilateral triangle. So to solve number 7, we have to write, we know it's an equilateral triangle, so we have 3 sides. We have x, we have x, and we have x. And if each side is increased by 5 inches, plus 5, plus 5, plus 5, and the whole thing, the perimeter, equals 60 inches. So we want to find the original side, so that would be x. So with this, if I combine my like terms, I have 1, 2, 3 x's plus 5, 10, 15 equals 60. So to solve, I want to subtract 15 from both sides. I want to do the opposite to get my variable by itself. 15 minus 15 is 0. I'm left with 3x equals 60 minus 15, which is 45. Sorry, that's a 5. So then to get my variable by itself, I have to divide each by the coefficient. That's the number connected to the variable. 3x divided by 3, I'm left with x. 45 divided by 3 is 15, and that would be inches. So my equation would look like 3x plus 15 equals 60. And x is going to equal 15 inches. So those are with whole numbers. Here's some that have fractions in them, doing the same thing using the distributive property. So we look at letter D on page 483. Again, I'm going to multiply each part of the inside of the parentheses by 1/4. So 1/4 times D is 1/4 D minus 3/4 equals negative 15. So to solve, since I'm going to add 3/4 to negative 15, I get, which is negative 14 and 1/4 equals 1/4 D. So then I divide each of those by 1/4 to get D equals, divide this by 1/4, I get 14 and 1/4 divided by 1/4, and I get D equals 57. Letter E, we have a decimal. So I have 0.75, and I'm going to take that and multiply it by both of the parts on the inside. So I have 0.75 times 6. 0.75 times 6 is 4.5. Plus 0.75D equals 12. I subtract 4.5 from both sides. 4.5 minus 4.5 is 0. I'm left with 0.75D equals 7.5. I'm going to divide each of those by 0.75 because that's the number that's connected to my variable. 0.75D divided by 0.75, they cancel out. I'm left with D equals 7.5 divided by 0.75, which is 10. And letter F, I have T plus 3 times 5/9 equals 40. So I'm going to take 5/9, multiply that by each of the ones on the inside. 5/9 times T is 5/9 T plus 3 times 5/9, which would be 1/3, which would be 5/3. Equals 40. So 5/3 is another way of saying 1 2/3. So I want to subtract 1 2/3 from each side. 1 2/3 minus 1 2/3 is 0. I'm left with 5/9 t equals 38. Sorry, that's 2/3. 38 1/3. So then to divide, I divide each one by 5/9. So I have t. I'll write that over there because this is going to take me a little while because there's a lot here to do. So I'm going to erase over here. 38 1/3. As a mixed number is 115 over 3 times the opposite or the flip, which is 9/5. 3 goes into 3 once, 3 goes into 9 3 times, 5 goes into 5 once, 5 goes into 115 23 times. So 23 times 3, t equals 69. One more I'll show you. I'll show you number 3 here. So again, distributive property, I have to multiply each of these by negative 1/9. Negative 1/9 v is negative 1/9 times v minus 5/9 equals 6. So now I'm going to subtract, I'm going to add 5/9 because I have to do the opposite to both sides. 5/9 minus 5/9 is 0. I'm left with a negative 1/9 v equals 6 5/9. So now I want to divide each by negative 1/9. So when I do this, I'm going to change 6 5/9 into an improper fraction. So 5 times 6 is 54, plus 5 is 59. My denominator stays the same, which is 9. I'm going to divide that by 1/9, negative 1/9, but when I do that, I want to divide. I don't ever divide. I want to multiply by the reciprocal. So that becomes a 9 over 1. So then my 9's cancel out because they're the same number. I multiply across. 59 times 1 is 59. I have to have a positive, so I know this has to be negative. So V equals a negative 59.